And welcome back. And we're moving into our first conversation for today. We're shifting things around and starting off our conversation with Catherine McPherson, who is a volunteer with ROC Shanti and also a doula. And she's here to tell us about natural pain management for women. Good morning and welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, Catherine, I want to start off by just finding out a little bit of your history with Belize, how you started coming here and what kept you coming back.
So I met Michelle Williams about 2-3 years ago in India. We did our advanced teacher training, yoga teacher training over there. And we stayed in touch, and she invited me to come out and teach, and I just kept coming back. So,
you got hooked.
Yeah, I did. I got Belize.
Okay. And how long have you been coming back?
Oh, probably for about 2 years now. Okay. And then I've been back since January, consistently volunteering with ROC Shanti, teaching and just being here, providing services.
Okay.
So.
Now, Catherine, let's talk a bit about what you do. You're a doula, and this isn't something that we particularly are accustomed to hearing about here in Belize. It's very common in the United States. Explain to me what a doula does.
A doula is a birthing assistant. It's a support team member during the birth, and she's there primarily for the mother with whatever she needs. And what I do, I work with women prenatally and postnatally. So we do a lot of prenatal care. I do prenatal yoga. We meet before she gives birth, months, many months beforehand. Because prenatal care is so crucial. At 18 months, the baby can hear and start seeing light.
18 weeks.
18 weeks, sorry, thank you for correcting me. 18 weeks. So it's really important that you be mindful of what you're saying, the conversations you're having, what you're exposing yourself to as a woman, and being cautious of that. When you see a pregnant woman, be kind to her, treat her well. And all of that affects the baby and how the baby's growing inside of you. And it's really important that we treat each other well, because we're trying to bring in this new generation of Belizeans here, right? So we want to bring these beautiful babies into the world. So we have to be treating each other really well. So keep that in mind when you see a pregnant woman, or if you are pregnant, please be good to yourself, and the people around you, be good to the women who are pregnant. So really
so
important.
you coach them through the pregnancy.
Yes.
And you offer yoga for women who are pregnant, and obviously the yoga you do as a pregnant woman would be different than what you would typically do.
Yes, it's different because you've got this whole thing in front of you, so you have to take that into account. So I work with each woman individually based on what their needs. They might be holding tension in different parts of their bodies. So we do different stretching, different practices, and it's important to stay active when you're pregnant. Don't just lay down. If you need to lay down, okay? I'm not saying don't do that. But it's really important that you stay active, and yoga is a great way to stay active and be in tune with your body, get in tune with your baby, and feel connected. And you know, another thing, a lot of stuff that I do is breathing techniques. So we work through breathing techniques to prepare you for the birth when you're there, and visualization. So I'll record visualization meditations, and they go home and they get to listen to them. And
what's been your experience so far working with women in Belize doing prenatal yoga?
It's a lot of people have no clue what it is. It's very foreign and very they can't really wrap their heads around it. So it's been a
because everybody thinks, how will I do a headstand if I'm pregnant? But you don't do inversions.
Right. Well, you can do inversions to change the position of the baby, but that's a whole other thing. That might be a whole other segment. So yoga and pregnancy, yes. Well, it's good to yoga. When we do yoga, we're preparing the body for birth. So we're getting you in different positions to open up the hips, to teach you how to open up the pelvis and the spine. So when you are giving birth, it minimizes tearing and medical intervention. Cesareans are very common in Belize, and it's very shocking to me. And medical intervention, episiotomies are not common practice in the States or anywhere else. In Europe, we'll say that, but for some reason in Belize, episiotomy is common practice. And for those who don't know what episiotomy is, it's where they cut while the baby's head's coming out, the woman's laying on her back, and you know, it's very unnecessary, because all you have to do, I want you to think about it this way. You think about the vagina and the baby's head coming out this way. You've got, the skin's flexible, right?
Yeah.
So the skin's not what's preventing the baby's head from coming out. It's the position. It's how the tailbone's positioned.
Yeah.
So what do you need to do? You need to change position to create more space, to open up the pelvis, open up the hips.
Yeah.
So it's very simple alternative techniques.
Yeah. Now what you're speaking about, I think, is a very, it's not foreign, because I know people who are interested in natural childbirth, in being able to deliver without having to go to opting for cesarean.
Yes.
But it is something I think that a lot of people perhaps don't understand. They want to avoid pain. They want to avoid a lot of the other challenges that can come with pregnancy. How important is the preparation leading up with the pregnant mother to help her to be able to get through the childbirth?
I believe it's crucial.
Yeah.
I think it's so important. I'll give an example. I worked with a mama here in Belize recently. We delivered at Buttonwood. Was it Buttonwood Medical Center with Dr. Ruth. And, you know, we went in with a birth plan. We said we want to have a natural birth, as natural as we can have it. And Dr. Ruth and the nurses gave us space. They gave us the room to essentially do our practices of what we needed to do. We used the yoga ball. We used all these different techniques. And the mama I was with, they were concerned because the head wasn't dropping. And so they induced her and they said, if the head doesn't drop in about 4 hours, we're gonna have to do a cesarean. And so we go, okay, we gotta get to work.
Yeah.
All right, so we get to work. We get on the ball, we do breathing, we do massage. I do a lot of massage work and reflexology. And
A massage in the middle of labor?
well, not labor, but this is through the contractions.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is essentially the first stage, the stages of labor leading up to it. But we were breathing through it. And the nurses were coming in and they were very curious because they didn't think there was a pregnant woman in the room with us.
Yeah.
Because we were breathing through the contractions and we had been working together to breathe through that, using the hot showers. There's a lot of different ways to provide relief through that. And she ended up, the doctor came back later and she came and checked on her and said, oh my God, you're ready to deliver. Yeah. So we went into the delivery room and she didn't have any medical intervention. She didn't have an episiotomy, she didn't get a cesarean. And she, I mean, it was amazing. It was incredible.
And it was a first-time mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First time in Belize, you know, so.
So, and I think that looking at the pain management part, that's also a huge focus of the work that you do in preparation before. How does breathing, I mean, I've never given birth, so I can't be able to share the experience, but I've only heard the stories about the immense pain that women experience when they go into labor and eventually deliver. How does breathing help one to overcome the excruciating pain that they're feeling at that time?
So a lot of us, when we go into pain, even if you've never been pregnant, if you've experienced any sort of pain from an injury, what's your immediate reaction? Is to, you know, you want to clench up.
Tense up.
Yeah. And that's the opposite of what you're supposed to do. What you're supposed to do is breathe into it, expand into it so it dissipates, and then you contract back in. So we teach a lot of breathing out into the pain. And also a lot of it is staying inside. You have to stay inside and focus. You find a focal point. So we practice these things. We teach these things. Yeah. So when it does come time to play, it's game time. You know what to do. And then I'm there coaching you, keeping you on track, telling you when you need to switch positions and all of that, and providing physical massage relief or whatever it is that you need.
Yeah.
But breathing is so crucial. So think of, even if you're not pregnant, next time you go into pain, close your eyes. Take a deep breath and breathe into it, expand into it.
And it's pain relief.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say is the greatest misconception of the work of a doula?
Well, first off, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so just so we're clear, I'm not a doctor. I'm a doula.
Yeah.
So
you're a birthing assistant.
Yeah, a birthing assistant, birthing support. And I don't know, misconception, I think maybe people feel like they don't need it, or they don't understand how much they need it, or they don't realize that they need that support. Even if you have, your husband there or your partner, they might not know how to support you in the way that you need. Be able to look at you and think, oh wow, she needs to go on her side right now, or maybe we need to get her in the shower. because they might be going through their own process. So it's really beneficial to have a doula on hand because we're trained to manage the mother, to help the mother. We're there specifically for you.
Yeah.
And whatever it is you need. So everyone else around you can do their thing, and we're there 100% for you all the time.
Now, since you've been in Belize and you started to offer this as a service to people, what are some of the questions people have when they first engage your services?
Well, they ask about cost.
Well,
Right now I'm doing everything donation. So if people do want to pay, they donate to ROC Shanti.
Okay.
It's hard I have to drum up interest. It's been a little bit difficult to drum up interest.
Because people say, what's a doula?
Right. What's a doula? Or prenatal yoga? What is that? So prenatal yoga is so wonderful, and it's wonderful for the mother. It's also, if we can get a class going, it's good to create a community of pregnant women to come together too, so they can connect. And I guess, I think it's just getting the word out and finding those pregnant women.
Yeah.
And I've reached out to a couple organizations, and they're like, so I think I have to physically go places. So I'm having to, go around.
Let's talk about some of the skill sets or some of the techniques that you're teaching pregnant mothers that help them to get through the birth. So we talked about prenatal yoga. We know exercise is good for pregnant women.
Yes.
And not rigorous exercise, specified exercises for their body. Let's talk about some of, and you spoke about the breathing techniques for pain management.
So what are some other
techniques?
Other techniques for pregnant women?
You come up with the birthing plan. What's a birthing plan?
Okay, a birth plan is where I have you sit down and you write what it is. What is your ideal birth? How do you want to give birth?
Yeah.
Do you want to be in a hospital? Do you want to be on your back? Do you want to be, do you want medical intervention? Do you want me to coach you through the process of not having to have medical intervention? So I'm an advocate for the mother.
Yeah.
So we sit down and make sure that we have a clear understanding of what the mother wants and how she wants to give birth. If she wants absolutely no medical intervention, then I advocate for that. So, but I can't speak for her. She has to,
that has to be decided.
Right, I can't
beforehand.
say this is what she's doing. So we have to decide that beforehand.
It has to be an interesting experience. I'm very sure of that. So you've worked with one mother in Belize so far, and what would you say to women who perhaps are interested but a little bit skeptical? Like, how would she be able to help me? Maybe I already have a scheduled cesarean because I've had one before. What would you tell them about why they should be able to seek out the services that you offer?
Well, if you're curious, just come meet with me. I promise I won't bite you. I'm pretty nice. I'll probably even give you a foot massage.
They'll line up today.
Right.
Even those who aren't pregnant.
Okay, so repeat the question one more time.
So what would you tell mothers who are interested but still unclear about how they'd be able to benefit?
I would say think about what's best for your baby. I want you to think about giving birth. Giving birth is a very natural thing. That's what our bodies are designed to do as women. Whether or not you choose to give birth or not give birth, it's your choice. I believe God made women the gatekeepers for a reason. So that is a gift, it's an honor, and it shouldn't be traumatizing or turned into this horrific thing, and we've been put into so much fear with our bodies as women. And we have to trust our process and all of that. My father's an OBGYN. How I got interested in this work was I was born at home. I was born at home. I watched my sister be born. I cut her umbilical cord. So from a young age, I was very fascinated by this. It was super intriguing to me. And, I asked my dad, what's one advice you can give for women while they're giving birth? And he said, be patient. Be patient with the process. Trust your bodies. So it's really more coming back into connection with your body and trusting the natural process. This is what your body is fully capable to birth your baby without medical intervention. Yes, there are those rare cases where you do need medical intervention. You want to have that on hand. However, it's not necessary for majority of births. So it's a very small percentage.
Yeah, we do have a high rate of C-sections,
Yes.
and oftentimes women opt for it without the need for it.
Right.
And we know that more and more it's advised that if you can go the natural route, you should.
Yes.
Now, you talk about self-care and natural pain management. Is this only for pregnant women, or are there other tips you can share for people who are not pregnant?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Again, coming back to the breathing and the meditation, we'll do a little. I'll do a little exercise with you guys, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, so we've got our hands, right?
Okay.
Okay. We use our hands for everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not brushing your teeth with your hands. You're writing. You've got your phone, right? Yeah. Okay. So we store energy in our hands. Our thumb, this is where we hold anxiety and worry. Mm-hmm. So if you're feeling anxious or you're worried, just squeeze your thumb, hold it for a minute or two. We won't do it the whole time, but just so you get an idea. So anxiety, worry, squeeze your thumb. And then we'll go to your pointer finger. Mm-hmm. This is where we hold fear. Mm-hmm. So if you're feeling fearful or scared about something, squeeze your finger. You just squeeze it and hold it for a minute or so. Mm-hmm. And then, I love how everyone's doing it right now. Great. And then squeeze a little bit harder before you let go. Whatever fear you're holding on to, let it go.
Does it matter which hand?
No, you can, it's good to balance out, but you know, if in that moment you're like, I'm really scared right now. I'm secretly doing this right now before the interview. All right, now I think we can all guess what the middle finger is.
No, I can't. Tell me. We know what we use it for.
Right, okay. Anger, right? Okay, so what do? You know, you want to give someone the bird because you're angry. So hold your middle finger. Mm-hmm. You squeeze that whenever you're feeling angry. And breathe. Remember to breathe while you're doing this. Breath is so important. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good. And then you release. And then in the middle finger, this is where we hold sadness or indecision. If you're having trouble making a decision or you're feeling really sad, don't know why, you hold your ring finger. Give yourself some relief. And then you release that one. And then the pinky, this is where we hold self-doubt, self-care, self-respect, self-confidence. So if you're feeling insecure, you just hold this.
Now, how does this work? I mean, explain to us what's happening. You talk about, and we know a big part of not just, yoga is the energy centers, and how it's dispersed throughout the body. Yeah. So what's the science behind holding your fingers? And we see this with acupuncture as well. This is,
and even the center point. This is your power button. So if you just need an emergency, just press.
Just the boost?
Yeah, you need that. You're like, oop, I gotta hit that button.
Yeah.
So you hold that. I follow acupressure. My dad practiced a lot of Eastern medicine, even though he was Western trained. He studied in China and he studied medicinal use of plants in Ghana. Mm-hmm. So I grew up from a more alternative medicine background, and so that's how I have this awareness of it, and I find it does work. Mm-hmm. And even if you're not feeling relief, it gets your mind off of whatever you're thinking. Yeah. You know, so it brings you, it centralizes it. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I appreciate what you're saying. You know, there are many doctors, and even here in Belize, that talk about complementary medicine. In other words, you use what is traditionally prescribed by a doctor, but you can also complement it with, in Belize, we call it either herbal or traditional medicine, right? Mm-hmm. And there are many places that people come up with their own treatments to be able to treat whatever ailment they have. What you're speaking about in terms of your services, and doulas are common in other parts of the world, not just the United States, and most pregnant women would seek the services to be able to assist them. Getting Belizeans to that point will take a bit of education, and that's what we're doing this morning. What do you think that you could say is the number one difference, especially if somebody's given birth before and they work with you? What would be the number one difference that they would have in their delivery?
The number one difference? It will be a lot calmer. I feel confident about saying that. And I think it'll be more of a journey versus this thing that you have to do or this thing that you're fearing that you're doing. I'll ease you into the process so that it grows and you evolve with it and you get to enjoy the whole process of it. Yeah. And it's because it's the beginning stages is one phase and then you turn the page and it's another one. So it becomes a little, I would say it's more fun. I don't know. I mean, I try to take these situations and make it a little bit more enjoyable. Yeah. And you're probably thinking, oh, how could that possibly be enjoyable?
Once there's pain involved, yeah, I would ask that. Yeah.
And that's where it's so crucial to have a doula there, because that's where I can step in and assess the situation and see where you need to go. Yeah. And to say things to you, talk to you, whatever it is. And when I'm working with you prenatally, I get to know you and you become more comfortable with me. Yeah. And it's fun. I don't know. It's fun.
I find it fascinating. So your dad is an OBGYN. So
he's retired now.
Yeah. No, but I mean, what was his reaction when you said you wanted to be a doula? Was he bought into this practice from the very beginning, or did it take a little bit of convincing for him as well?
No, my father actually learned he calls them his tricks of the trade. He learned them from midwives. And so he comes more from that standpoint. We look at women giving birth more as what's natural, what's normal, versus these medical interventions which are approaching birth as an emergency worst case scenario. Take a cesarean, for example. That is major abdominal surgery. I don't think people realize or understand how major that is. You are cutting open your abdominals, opening up the uterus and pulling the baby out. There's nothing natural about that. Yeah. Now, there's a place for that, absolutely. Yeah. And I think there are some cases where you absolutely do need that. Yeah. However, majority of women do not need to be doing that. Yeah. And that takes so long to recover from. That is something you'll be recovering from for the rest of your life. I also work with women who've had cesareans. So I want you to know, even if you've had a cesarean, you can come work with me postnatally and we'll help you rebuild those abdominal walls and build it back together. So I don't want to shame anybody. I don't want anyone to feel bad about what decisions they've made. But know that there is relief. So even if you've had a cesarean, there's relief to have after that. Yeah.
So you offer postnatal care as well?
I do.
And what about breastfeeding? How do you factor that into the work that you do?
With lactation? Oh, it's really important. Yeah. So I do a little bit of that too. Yeah. And right now what I'm trying to do, if anyone's listening, I'm trying to compile a list of resources for women that they can talk to either therapists if they develop, postpartum depression, lactation specialists, any other midwives, any other doulas out there. I want to compile a list of people that provide a resource for women so they can go to a place and look people up and contact them.
All right. So Catherine, where do people contact you for your services?
I'm at Shanti, Belize.
Okay, that's on Princess Margaret Drive in Belize City.
Yes, on H, so Princess Margaret and H. Yeah. And you can either stop by or you can visit the website, omshantibelize.com, send a message. We'll try to get back to you as soon as possible.
And prenatal yoga, is it a regular course or something that you have to request?
I have to have a demand for it. Okay. So I would love to get a regular prenatal class going for women. However, right now I just do private sessions with people. So they contact me individually and we go from there.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to share with us before you leave?
Breathe. Please, breathe. God gave you breath to live, so breathe.
I think everybody's going to be squeezing their finger today. At some point in the day, I will for sure. But we appreciate you stopping in and being able to share the work that you do. And I love that you talk about being able to offer it voluntarily to women who need it. And I think that's definitely a great opportunity that hopefully people take advantage of. Thank you for stopping in, Catherine.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we'll be joined by representatives of the University of Belize to talk about their upcoming social work conference. So stay tuned.